Hello, how's it going guys? It's Jeremy Dwayne here, and welcome to a Minecraft guide. Now in this guide, I'm going to be showing you how to make a mob trap, XP farm, grinder, whatever you want to call it. So I have myself a zombie spawner here that I found in my hardcore map. Yes, this is hardcore, legit, whatever, blah blah blah. And you know, it's not very often that you come across one of these, and when you do come across one of these, you want to make sure you take advantage of it and make it into a mob grinder. So this is a quick tutorial on how to do this. Probably going to do some massive editing to it so that it is actually not extremely long, because it's going to take me some time to do this because I'm doing it legit instead of in creative mode. But for the most part, it should be pretty straightforward and you should understand everything. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go through the rest of the caves surrounding the mob spawner. And you want to make sure that you light them all up nicely. Just take a quick glance. I don't know exactly how far around you should check, but you just want to make sure that, in general, all of the areas surrounding your mob spawner are lit up. The reason you want to do this is because you don't want any dark places that mobs can spawn in, because the mob grinder is going to, or spawner, is going to be finding different areas around the spawner that are dark enough for them to spawn in. Usually, they only spawn in the little room that they spawn in, that the spawner's in. But sometimes they do like to venture out and be adventurous, especially if there's dark areas. So just make sure you light up everything. Make sure you go down, you go up. Just check everything. It's not necessarily a requirement, but it does help with the efficiency of your mob grinder. So do that, and once you do, go ahead and close up. You want to have 4 walls, and the thing that you're going to be doing is you got to choose a direction that is going to work well, because you have to funnel the zombies into one certain direction. So since I know that that's kind of a gapped area, I don't want to have to make my own walls, so we're going to go this way. So this means that this center aisle here is going to be where I'm going to be funneling the zombies down to. And for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up just for now, and I'm going to make a quick spot here to hold water. You're going to need 2 buckets of water so you can make an infinite water source, because you're going to need unlimited amount of water, because it's going to take a lot of water to do this. Because water is going to be how you're going to move the mobs. So once you have that, just have it off to the side. It doesn't matter where it is. You can always move it. What you're going to do is you're going to dig down 2 blocks, because you want at least a 2-block gap in between your mob grinder, the mob spawner, and your bottom floor of the trap. The reason why you want at least a 2-block gap between the floor and the grinder is so that mobs don't get spawned or like trapped behind it. You'll still have some zombies that spawn on top of it, but if you do 2 blocks below, they're not going to get trapped behind it, which will happen. So make sure you clear this all out 2 blocks below, and it should be good. So you see I have a cave below mine, so I do have to do some block placement, but for the most part it's already open and clear for me, which is good. Alright, so once you've cleared it out 2 blocks below, what you're going to do is choose that, find that wall, and you're going to mine it down 1 more block, because this is the funnel for where the mobs are going to go. So just make it 1 down below, and then it'll go into this. And then for this back wall, you want this first one to be 3 wide, and then it'll go, 3 tall, and then 2 tall, and so on. So one thing that you need to check is that from this back wall to up here is 8 blocks, because you want at least 8 blocks so that the water can flow completely. And then this is where your ladder is going to start. This is where you want your mobs are going to go up, and eventually drop down. So this is where it starts. I don't recommend putting down water yet because it can be quite a pain to deal with this. And alternatively, if you want to make this a little bit bigger that way, you could extend it out. Actually, I am going to extend it out one because there needs to be at least 3 blocks width between the walls and the spawner. So that's another thing you gotta know. Make sure that the walls are at least 3 blocks out. Doesn't matter how high it is. It just matters how wide it is. The girth. All right. Okay. So after you have that, what you want to do, I'm just gonna have that there for easy access. So once you have that going, block up anything that doesn't need to be there, and then from this you need to count out 8 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is where your water is going to go for the rest of the trap. Basically, the reason why you go out 8 here is because, again, principles of water flow. You want the water to flow exactly 8 blocks instead of, because essentially you want the water to go from here all the way to the edge like that, but you don't want it to spill over into it because then it just creates awkward water flows that aren't going to take your mobs where you want them to go. So just keep mining it out and do this for both sides. And what I like to do is a little something like this. What I'll do is I'll taper it off so that the back one is, one above, and then it goes up one, and so on. It doesn't really matter. This won't affect performance. It's just more of an aesthetic that I prefer. Ooh, emerald. I'm grabbing that. Just an aesthetic that I like. It's not going to affect performance at all. Okay, and then do the same thing for the other side. Okay, so once you have your room all tapered out nice and stiff, this is where you're going to want to kind of figure out how many blocks up you need to go. So again, you need this to go 8 blocks, and then essentially I was wrong, and this is going to be where your ladder starts, because you want your ladder to start at the last point that it started at. So this is going to be essentially where the mobs get picked up, and to do this you're going to need a lot of signs and a lot of water, which is why you need an infinite water source. So go ahead and make a bunch of signs. I recommend making at least 25 because you're going to need quite a few to do this. So what do you do first? Well, take your signs, and in here what you're going to do is the first sign will go here, and then next one will go there, next one will go there, and then from here, actually this needs to be blocked off. From here, I think that's right. Let me double check that. I don't think that's right. No, it's not. It needs to go over one. So I was right. I was right the first time. So, your shaft, as awkward as that sounds, it's gonna start here. So first sign there, second sign there, and third sign there. And then from here, they just alternate every other block. And you may be saying, but how am I supposed to do this? I can't climb up there. I'm not in creative mode. Well, this is where the power of water comes in handy. The reason why you have to alternate them like this is because signs have the ability to block water. So you see, it's staying there. It's not going anywhere. And that comes in handy when doing this. So essentially what's going to happen is the water flows the mobs over here into the middle, and then the middle flows them down, and then it connects up with the ladder, and then they swim up. The reason why you want little gaps of air in between each sign is because you want the mobs to feel like they're drowning, and then they swim up, they find air, and then they start to drown again because they get on the other side, they find air, and they just keep going up. It's kind of taking advantage of a mechanic that is very useful. It's their own survival mechanism, and it works really well for this. So just keep going up, keep adding signs, just keep digging, and again, this doesn't really have any specific height requirements of how high it needs to go, but it should go up at least 23 to 25 blocks. It really just depends on where you plan on dropping the mobs, because eventually they gotta fall down. So, you know, just keep making trips back and forth, getting more water, and eventually you'll make it up to where you want it to go. So I like to go about 25 blocks. It's easiest to count how many blocks by counting how many signs. So 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8. I think that's right. If it's not, then I'm gonna make a fool of myself. But again, just keep going up. And the reason why you want it to be 23 to 25 blocks is because that's the point at which they start to die from fallout damage. I don't understand why this why that's spawned. I don't know. It shouldn't have spawned. Maybe it was just a random cave zombie. I don't know. Okay. So yeah, just keep going up and up and up and up. What? How are you spawning? Oh, it's too dark in... I mean, it's too dark in here. Alright. So, pro tip. Make sure you light up this room entirely, because I guess it gets dark enough that they can spawn in here. Alright, so we're pretty much done with the ladder system. I went up 25 blocks. It's really just dependent on where you want your mob grinder to go, or where you want the drop section of yours to go. Personally, I like 25 because then you're kind of guaranteed a 23 block drop, but you might have to go a little bit higher than that. Just depends on your grinder and where you want everything to go. So as you can see, like this, with this one being the last block, it's going to push me that way. But since my mob grinder is over there, I don't want it to go that way. So we want it to go the other way. So I'm going to put a torch up because it really doesn't matter at this point whether or not there's light. We're going to put up a water source there with a sign there. So now the mobs are going to get pushed this way. So go ahead and mine this out. See, they automatically get pushed that way. Now, is there a rare occurrence that they could go up into this little section and just sit there? Yeah, it could happen, but this is where you make your redundancy. You get another bucket of water, which we'll have to go back down to get, and you put your last bucket of water there. Although you're gonna need more water because you still have to make the drop. So To make the drop, you have to kind of set out a path to weed them along, and they'll eventually drop. Now, there's two ways to figure out where you want them to drop. You can either just figure out while you're up there, or you can go and actually find a spot beforehand where you'd like to set up your base for collecting everything. I personally don't really care, so I'm just gonna dig out this far. Dig out these blocks until the water doesn't push it out anymore. So now this is where the water is gonna end for that. Sure, you can have it's gonna be a little bit different with this water source up here, but for the most part that's pretty much it, because that really doesn't do much. It just pushes them a little bit faster, and I'm gonna get rid of that because I don't want to get GG'd while I'm doing this. Meaning not be able to swim back through. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my waypoint for that zombie spawner so that I know where it is. And essentially I want to get pretty far away from this. You want to be at least 8 blocks away from that. You don't have to go straight. You can turn and stuff. So if you have a specific location picked out that isn't like a straight shot back, you can always zigzag your zombies around, or whatever mob grinder it is. The main thing to keep in mind is, again, the properties of water flow, meaning water flows 8 blocks out, so it'll only go 8 blocks. It will not go any further. So you just have to keep that in mind as you're making your twists and turns, and then you can decide where you want your mob grinder to actually be. Okay, so this is the second loop. The other thing that you have to keep in mind is every time you go 8 blocks and you have to change to another source, water source, you have to drop down, because if you were to just say put the water source in the wall here, it'll just backflow, so the mobs will just get stuck here in the middle, and that's not what you want. You want them to flow, so you can't have it on the same block level. It has to be a step down so that they fall down into the water, the next water stream, and then that water stream pushes them. And I'm gonna go one more, because actually no, this is good. This is good enough. And I think there's a spider spawner somewhere nearby. But oh, I swear there is. There has to be. But that's besides the point. We'll find that later. So at this point, this is where you want your job to be. Again, you can twist and turn this however you want, but this is where your job's going to be. So the main thing is you want it to drop 23 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There has to be a spawner there. Okay, I gotta check it out. It's bothering me too much. Yep, there's another spawner there. Great. Well, let's see what we get. Okay. And since I don't like spiders, we're gonna just get rid of the spawner altogether. What did we get? A golden apple! Suck it, Ant Venom! Oh, emerald. Okay, well, I'm glad I checked that out. Alright, back let me through. Back to what we're supposed to be doing. Oh my goodness. That's priceless. I want that gold. Okay. Get rid of that. Okay. So, I lost track. I completely lost count of what we were at. So, this is where we start over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So 23 blocks. This is where you dig out, and this is going to be where your room is, your drop room. So this is 21 blocks away. That's perfect. That's more than enough. The reason why you want this to be relatively far away from your spawner is because when your mobs drop down into this room, you want them to be far enough away from the spawner that the spawner won't detect that they're there. The reason why you don't want the spawner to detect that they're there is because you want your mob grinder to generate as many mobs as possible. Meaning, if you sit there and AFK for like 20 minutes, you want to have a good 200 mobs there. You don't want to be like sitting there and only have 5, because that's just pointless. You want to maximize your XP. It's a mob grinder after all, and you want to get the most XP you can out of it. Now this room, it doesn't have to have any specific things. It's just more or less aesthetics for however you want it to look, because it has no cause on any effect of whatever. It doesn't make any performance changes. So just make it look how you want. This is just going to be temporary. I'll eventually make it look a lot better. But the main thing is you want to have some form of exit to get to the mob grinder, because you need to be able to get your XP, or you need to be able to get from the mob spawner to here easily. Okay, so we made it back, and this is not where I want our little viewing area to be. I want it to be along the edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig out a little room back here, because you want to be able to view what's going on in there, but you don't want to affect anything that's going on in there. You don't want anything to touch you. I'm actually not going to make it over here. I'm going to make it yeah, we're going to make it over here. This is going to be our viewing side, so that we can watch the zombies spawn. We can see them flow, and everything will be just fine. So I recommend having some glass. I don't have any glass on me, but it doesn't make a huge difference because zombies can't shoot at you. I did this with a skeleton spawner. Again, this works for all spawners, skeleton or zombie. Obviously, you can't do it with a spider, but it'll work either way. With skeletons, you want to make sure that they can't shoot at you, so it's best to have glass. That way you can watch what they're doing you can watch them spawn while you're just AFKing. Yeah, make a little room back here so that you have a place to chill, and you can watch them spawn, so you can see roughly how many you're getting. Again, you're not going to get an exact answer just from looking at this, but you'll get a basic idea of how many are spawning in. First thing you want to do is set up the water. So get your water going. In the middle is good, because you see that it connects up with that, so that they automatically get picked up and they automatically get sucked in, and then it's pretty much GG from there. And then this is where you're gonna need a lot of water. So I recommend having at least 2 buckets, if not more. The last time I did this, I had 3 buckets, and it was 3 buckets, not buckets, and it was fairly efficient. Do you need to have a water source for every block back there? Not really. You just need to have enough that the water is complete and flowing throughout the whole area, so that it comes down and flows. So currently it's not doing that, so we gotta put some more water. And now it is. So we're good there. And again, just take up this source just to make sure that none of it's overflowing. So I would recommend doing this middle one last, filling it up last. And then do the same thing for the other side. Fill it up. Make sure that the water is flowing. This staircase is messing with it. I'll just do that for now. Except in that, I can't win. I cannot win. Gotta move this over one. Okay. So actually, we'll put that there. I'm gonna pick this one back up because it's screwing with the water somehow. I'm not sure why this is screwing up. Let me make sure. That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, is that only 7? That's only 7. That's why. So I derped and placed that wrong. So this needs to go one more. And as you could tell, that's exactly why it has to be 8. Because if it's not 8, it's going to just overflow into the next stream, and it's not going to actually move them anywhere. It's just gonna swim them around, and it's not gonna work. So again, you don't have to taper it off like this. I just do it for aesthetics because I like it. I think it's pretty. Okay, so place your water. And make sure that you get all of the corners. Let's see, should be one more. And there we go. Okay, so that's all of the water for the outsides. Now you just put one on the inside, and before I do this though, I'm going to take out all of these torches so that stuff will start spawning. If you're doing this in creative mode, make sure you don't kill the spawner. You don't want to get rid of your spawner, and if you do, it's not going to work right. Okay. So, immediately you see that zombies are spawning, and they're not going anywhere because the final water block is not in place. So, what we do, come down, place it, and bye-bye. See ya. So long, farewell, always and goodbye. Goodbye. Okay, so they're gonna go down there, down the poop chute, and they'll go to the drop zone, which has been preemptively determined by us. And again, I would recommend putting glass here so that you can see. And the other thing is, you probably want to use something like redstone torches in this room. So you want to block off all light that's coming into this specific room, because if you're watching in there, you can see light spilling in there. So they're not going to spawn as well as they would in the dark. So you don't have to look at it, but you know, it does help a little bit to be able to see, because to be honest, it makes it less boring for you, because you can see what's going on. But yep, so just make a nice little room back here. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just, again, it's completely up to you on how you want it to look. And if you're on the PC version, you can hit F3 to open up the debug console, and up here you'll see E, 4 out of 45. That means that there's 4 mobs out of 48 mobs in total in the direction that I'm looking at. So that means that there's 48 zombies essentially spawning, or in the area. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's all of our zombies. It could be other zombies or anything else in adjoining caves. But for the most part, they should be the ones that we're spawning on purpose. So, sit here, let them spawn for a little while, and then head over to your mob grinder to where they're supposed to be dropping. And again, you can make this look better over time. But as you can see, they're already starting to fall. Now, if you're noticing that most of your zombies are dying before you get there, such as that, what I recommend doing is going back to your crafting bench and making... I don't have one. No, I don't have one on me. And making a couple slabs, half slabs. That way you can kind of see... Oh, I don't have one at all. Okay, well, we can just make one. Because you want to make some half slabs so that you can kind of adjust it so that they're not instantly dying, but they still take enough damage. So just make some slabs. And head back. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Oh, that lag. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to kill all these really quick so that I can get the slab in there. And I'm actually going to mine this up because I want the coal. And I'm going to hope that they don't spawn. Good, they didn't. Okay, we're safe. Get that. And then half slab. So, half slabbed it up. So now they should take a little bit less damage. And then you see if they are continuously dying again. You want to keep testing this until you get it so that they're not dying 100% of the time. But a few deaths is expected. But... did that die again? You know, it's really just kind of dependent. Some people find different things work better as far as distance. You know, maybe try, instead of 23, try a full 22. Full 22 blocks, maybe move this up one. Essentially what you want is to be able to either one punch or two punch them to death. And if you can get that, then great. Because that means that it's going to be easy for you to kill them. I'm going to go ahead and switch this to making it back to 2. Or half a slab, because I just want to see if it's working. I'm going to go back and spawn some more zombies, and we'll go from there. Emeralds. So I've been sitting here for a few minutes letting these AFK. I actually had to go up to my house to get supplies to make potion of healing, or splash potions of healing, so I could show you how this works. But yeah, so we should have just a few. Again, didn't sit there too long because I spent most of my time getting back out to my house. But we do have quite a few sitting there. 14 to be exact. Not a ton, but hey, can't complain. Didn't spend that much time. So, to kill them all, you just chuck a splash potion. And they're dead. So, what you're going to want to do is wait until you have a ton of them sitting there. Like 150, and then chuck this because it'll pretty much one-shot them, and suck in all the XP and all the loot. Not much else to do than that. So yeah, this is just a basic overview of how you can make this. Again, you can tailor this to look however you like. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end up opening this up a little bit more, maybe doing a little bit more decorating. Seal this off so that this doesn't get in there. You can add stairs, all that stuff. I made this pathway which takes you out pretty much next to my house. I'm gonna add stairs to this, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. And overall, it'll work pretty nicely for an XP grinder. What a lot of people do is they put their enchanting room down here, or they just add an extra enchanting room down here so that they can just quickly enchant stuff. So, you know, might consider adding one of those in back here. Who knows? Again, this is something that you can customize to your liking. You don't have to follow exactly how I do this. This isn't the first mob grinder that I've made, and each one has kind of I've made look different. If that makes any sense. They've never looked the same, but the functionality and the basics behind it is all the same. Water pushes the zombies into the middle, pushes it up into the water ladder, which takes them up, and then they fall and drop. Again, you want them to fall far enough that they take a lot of damage to the point that you could just like punch them once or twice and they die. But you don't want them to take so much damage that they fall to their death, because that's just a waste of XP, because when they fall and die instantly, you don't get the XP for them falling. Or you don't get the XP if they die. So, ooh, a carrot. Definitely try to get a zombie spawner. They're better. They give you awesome loot like iron. They give you iron stuff. They give you carrots. They give you all that nice stuff. Skeletons are also nice spawners because they give you bones, they give you arrows, stuff like that. But you just gotta find one and turn it into a mob grinder. I don't believe this will work for spiders, so I always recommend just getting rid of them. Just mine up the spider spawners because they're just annoying. But try it. I mean, maybe. I would assume that it wouldn't, because spiders can like climb up walls and stuff. But you could try it. Prove me wrong. Anyways, if you did learn how to do something in this episode, maybe you've seen videos like this in the past. Maybe I showed you a few different ways you can do it. Or maybe you learned how to do this entirely. Make sure you give this a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content. I don't just post Minecraft. I do a variety of games, and we have a good time. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.